Start game now. Welcome retro fans to another edition of the No Swear Gamer. On today's episode I'm going to take a look at my first homebrew title. Now I don't own the physical cartridge, that's why I'm going straight to the game, but I do have an official copy that can be found on the Activision Anthology for the Game Boy Advance, and that is what I'm going to be playing on today through my Game Boy Advance player on my Nintendo GameCube. Make sense? Alright, let's go on. Okie Dokie is one of the earliest homebrews ever made. It is from 1996, I believe, and was made by a guy named Bob Colbert. And I think I'm saying his name right, I really hope so. Okie Dokie is a lights out style game where your goal is basically to make the whole screen black. Now you have all these tokens on your screen. And what you can do is you can pick a token on the screen or even a token that's not there. And when you push that token, the tokens above and below and to each side of it will flip to the opposite. So if a light is on, it'll turn off, or if it is off, it'll turn on. And you keep on doing this until you figure out a way to finally get all the lights out. Now, the original Lights Out game, I believe, was on a 5x5 grid. This is a slight variation. This one's on a 6x5 grid, so a little more room to work with here. There are 30 preset puzzles in this game. The first 15 puzzles that you can select from are fairly symmetrical, and the next 15 are actually not symmetrical. There's also a 31st puzzle, which is basically a random puzzle. Pick this mode and you'll get one of 435 random puzzles. There is also a counter on the bottom of the screen that keeps track of your moves, so even if you are able to solve a puzzle, you can try and challenge yourself to do it in less moves. So if you are a Lights Out fan, there's definitely a lot here. And if you win the game, a little sound celebrates and you see "you win" scrolling by. Now I think originally this was a supercharger game made to work with the supercharger accessory on either cassette or CD, and it was bundled with a game called Stella Sketch, which was basically an Etch-a-Sketch style application for the Atari, but the creators, Ohio Arts of Etch-a-Sketch, basically told them, you can't do that, we kind of own that, so that had to basically cease and desist. But this game came out individually in cartridge form and on anthologies like the Activision Anthology. One interesting thing about the cartridge form is that based on the left difficulty switch on your Atari 2600, you can decide if you're going to play it on an NTCS TV, that's the standard North American TV, or a PAL TV, so for my friends across the pond. So it's kind of cool that the cartridge works in both territories. Another interesting thing too is the manual mentions that I believe this game is dedicated to his cat, who was named Okie and lived a full life of 16 years before he passed on. So a little bittersweet, but still pretty cool. Graphically speaking, the game is fairly limited. You do have 8 different tokens. I like that he changes the tokens, gives you different options as far as picking those out. You can have everything from check marks to smiley faces to turtles and so on and so forth. It did seem, for whatever reason, some of the rows of tokens were a little altered from the other rows, but that's just a minor detail. The music is also very minimal, but as I said, you get that little sound when you win, and you just have your standard sounds as you click on the various tokens. And of course, this is a family-friendly game. Now, this game isn't really found anywhere right now except the Atari Age store, where you can still buy brand new cartridges of it, and if you want to buy it through Atari Age, I believe the price there is $20. So overall, what did I think of this game? Well, first of all, I am absolutely terrible at lights out style games. It's not my cup of tea, so I didn't enjoy it, but I think if you enjoy this type of game, it's totally for you. As a matter of fact, the only puzzle I was able to solve is puzzle 2. Interestingly enough, puzzle 1 is not the easiest. Puzzle 2 is, and you can solve it in 4 moves, and I was able to get that, but that's about all I was able to do. All the other puzzles, I just felt like I was just kind of aimlessly poking around in the dark trying to figure out what would work. So for me, not something I would like, but if you are a Lights Out fan or a dedicated homebrew collector, this might be for you. And I don't really have anything to rank it against because I don't want to put homebrews against the regular games. If I do homebrews, I just want to rank them against themselves. So I'm not going to rank this one. So there you go. Hey, I'm a part of the Retro Junkies Network, and so is Ferg of the Atari 2600 Game by Game podcast, and he will be covering this soon on his show. You can find him on iTunes, just search for the Atari 2600 Game by Game podcast. He'll be covering this as well as Stella Sketch, which originally came bundled with it, so there you go. If you like videos like this, would you go ahead and click the like and subscribe button? You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Just go to either one and search for The No Swear Gamer, and you should find me rather easily. And as always, you can feel free to share these videos on your social media site of choice. Thank you guys for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time right here on The No Swear Gamer. Take care, everybody.